Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. The Woodpreneur podcast is proudly sponsored by Acres CRM. Acres CRM is the wood industry's only customer relationship management software dedicated to helping you automate your sales and marketing so that you can focus on serving your customers and growing your business. You can visit acresoftimber.com to learn more and to schedule a demo. Once again, that's acresoftimber.com. Hey, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Nick Hunsaker from Hunski Hardwoods. How you doing, Nick?
Great, Steve. Nice to finally chat with you.
Yeah. So I've been following you along since I've been around in around 6 years ago. And it's been great to see your progress. And I read a little bit about you in the Wood Miser Way. When were you in the Wood Miser Way? Was it how long ago was that?
2015, Harrison came out and did a video on us.
See, that's literally kind of when I started. So, and
yeah,
I remember my in-laws have a wood miser, and so while my father-in-law was in the forestry forum, I was flipping through the Wood Miser mag. So that's how I saw you.
Oh, cool.
Cool. So why don't you tell everybody about your origin story? How'd you get started in this business?
Well, it started, I had this business with my dad. So it's him and I run it. He's been in the wood business since he was 12 years old and he's going to turn 60. So do the math there. But he started at 12 years old cutting firewood. And in 1995, he started working for a company that harvested walnut burls for veneer. So that's when I started in this industry, going to work with them in the summer and on the weekends. So I'm 35 now. So I was born in 87. So I was 8 years old.
Wow.
So I've pretty much been around it my whole life. You know, this is what I know. This is what I do. This is what I love. And it's, you know, a deep rooted passion that I have and that my dad have for this industry. And it was 2010. I was going to school to be a nurse or to try to get into the nursing program. And that's a little bit after the recession. You know, the burl market for veneer took a dive, and I just didn't really have a passion for nursing. It was just, you know, just going to be a job, a career.
And my dad was like a stable job. Yeah.
And my dad, he was doing still, you know, taking trees out, you know, salvaging the logs and all that stuff. And he was selling them to people that milled them into the slabs. There was only a few companies at the time that did that. And then there was an opportunity. I'm like, Dad, why don't we, you know, start cutting them up ourselves? Because we're the actual ones that, you know, go out and salvage the trees, have a relationship with the farmers and all that stuff. And we did a job and we got enough money, you know, and we bought a sawmill. We bought a Lucas mill in 2012. One of the big dedicated slabbers, big Lucas mills. So we started cutting logs into slabs, but we still sold logs because you can't sell green slabs. So we still had to supplement, you know, that way. And we went over to Far West, had them because they just got the WM1000, which is the big wood miser, and we had them cut a couple pine logs, and we're like, wow, this sawmill is unbelievable. Because I mean, you know about a Lucas mill and a chainsaw mill, it's slower, it's not as accurate, you lose slabs with it. So we're like, wow, we somehow got to get one of these. So, you know, we saved up and we were able to buy one, and they installed it November 2013. And that's pretty much when I say we're, you know, off to the races with milling wood. And, you know, it's slowly got another sawmill in 2017, the LX 450. Bought a kiln before that, and it's just, then we're going.
That's awesome.
And then what is that? 12 years later, we're still, you know, from 2010 to now, we're still rocking.
What were those first couple of years like for you?
Well, it was it was a lot of fun. It was a little, I don't want to say scary, but you're going, I'm going to school to get a, a career, a daytime job. Not going to do that anymore. Starting a business just kind of out of the air, really, something new, and just, you know, trusting, God provided, income for us all the way through, and just, I don't know. I guess it was a little intimidating starting yourself. There was only a few companies that were milling slabs back then when we started. So it's like us and then them, and they were already established, so I'm really glad we started our website back then, because the SEO and all that stuff, we were hitting that really hard back then. So people all over the country and all over the world find us, which is awesome, which I'm really thankful for we did that back then, because now it's paying off.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
once that started, people call in orders, and it's just, you know, it's been pretty steady.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, so you and your dad going full time on this, or is your dad still
Oh
kind
yeah.
of?
No,
Yeah.
we're full blown full time, and and then some.
I mean, back then in 2013.
Oh yeah. Because he was already, he had over the, since 1995 to the 2013, and even now has so many relationships with farmers that have, orchards and stuff. And every year their trees die and they need trees taken out. So, every year we'd go take trees out. And so, yeah, he was always doing it full time.
Wow. And then you quit nursing school and started doing it full time.
Yeah. Well, it started, I finished the prerequisites and never applied. Yeah. So that was 2010 when I finished that up. And then we started doing the Hunski hardwoods. But it wasn't until 2012 we were able to buy a sawmill. We were still wholesaling the logs to people up in from
Oh,
2010 up in, yeah.
yeah, I love that. I call it like hustling wood without a chainsaw. That's like it's kind of
Yep.
the best. It's like arbitrage, right? It all depends on your relationships, knowing who's gonna buy, a little
Oh
bit of
yeah.
grit, some hustle, right?
Yep. And it's funny, you don't really think about it at the moment, but all those relationships that my dad, he was building with the farmers help us out to this day. 20 years ago, starting a relationship, and they still call us, and we're still friends with them. Over the years, they're older, and we've seen some of them pass away, which is sad, but it's cool to see that their son or their grandson taking over the ranch and just continue the relationships.
That's so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so interesting too. So like I almost feel like your wood source is very different than, I mean, do you get stuff from tree service, or is it mainly
Yeah,
these farmers?
there's a few tree services that we work with that, they get logs and they take them down. They don't, want to go dump them at the dump or pay to dump them. And it's like, yeah, you can dump them in our yard. We'll take them. Yeah. So there's a few
Yeah,
we work with, but mainly it's just farmers and that we work with, and we go take the trees out.
that's so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
So how would you describe your sort of main product services right now?
The main product service would be, wholesaling the raw material to furniture makers or anyone that uses what we offer, I guess. But we also, a funny story, we also make custom furniture and stuff, tables.
Yeah.
It was in 2013. Um, not 2013, 2015. Someone came and contacted us because they contacted someone to make them a table, but they didn't have the slabs and the time to do it. So they said, "Hey, call Hunski." So they called us, and they were like, they came out and they said, "Hey, we're looking for a conference table here in Sacramento." And so we showed them some slabs, and they loved them. And they were like, "Can you do the work?" And in my head, I'm like, "Well, we've never done it, but I know we can." So we
Yeah.
started. So we're like, "Yeah, we could do it." And we had a cabinet maker. He helped us out, showed us, some tricks and all that stuff. So in 2015, we made our first conference table for someone, and slowly throughout 2015 all the way to now, we make 20, 30 pieces a year for
Wow.
clients. Yeah, but our main thing is wholesaling the wood.
Yeah. So salvaging these logs from these orchards or sometimes tree service, milling them, drying them, flattening them, and then selling them
Yeah.
to furniture makers.
Yeah, actually, but right before you called, I was working on two big walnut slabs for one of our customers. They're coming today to pick them up. I was uh, servicing for them.
For sure.
Yeah.
What what what's kind of been like a challenge throughout this whole point? Like what's the thing that in those, and even, I mean, you've been around for 20 years. That's quite an accomplishment, and congratulations. That's really,
Thank
really
you.
impressive. The what's the sort of lesson or the challenge that you've had to overcome during 20 years of building a wood business?
I guess the biggest thing is time management.
Mm,
That's the hard part. That's the hardest part because we literally have 1,000 logs in our yard. Like I'm not exaggerating. We really do, and it's time finding the time to because they don't cut themselves. You know, so
yeah.
actually finding the time to balance working, making furniture, wrapping products up, surfacing, milling, just trying to balance all that because it's just my dad and I that do it.
Okay. Okay.
And I guess it's just been, last year we didn't really cut any wood for 10 months because we were busy making furniture and doing all that stuff. So it's just trying to balance all that has been the hard part.
Do you have any employees?
No.
Just you and your dad?
Yeah.
Killing it. Father and son team killing it. That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. It's never a dull moment, and it comes long hours. But I mean, I love what I do. I wake up and I can't wait to go to work.
Wow. How did you resist the urge to not add employees? Like, what was the
Well,
thing?
I guess I'm not opposed to it, but it's just let like we've built it from the ground up, and you're kind
Yeah.
of letting go of part of it, to I guess I mean trusting someone else to do it how I would do it, or they have the same passion, the love for it, and that's the hard part. It's just I'm sure they're out there because other companies have great employees, and I'm not saying we can't find them, but it's just I like what just us.
Yeah.
You
Do
know,
you do you I mean, was it something intentional about the way you designed your business? Like, I mean, between you and your father, I mean, it sounds like who's felling the trees, who's hauling it, like who's making the furniture, or both of you like doing everything together?
yeah,
Well, the reason why I asked that is because a lot of woodpreneurs, they seem to get overwhelmed. And I always say this, like if you have a partner, like you don't need to be selfish, right? Like you
hmm
can have a partner and have a really successful business. But like I'm curious for you, it's like how did you design your business for you, A, to maintain your happiness and not feel overworked or overwhelmed? And B, like how did you like how did you structure it so that it worked, that you didn't actually need other people in your business?
yeah. Well, I take on the like the online stuff, our website and social media and all that stuff, and
Mhm.
the business phone is that comes to me, so I take care of that. And my dad, he kind of his passion eventually he'd like to be able to just make furniture full time. That's what he loves to do.
Mhm.
So he kind of takes that role where he's the I mean I make stuff too, but he makes it. He's the I guess the top builder, I guess, for us. Like he
Sure.
takes on that responsibility there. And then as far as like taking an orchard out or doing stuff like that, if I have to be here to meet customers and stuff, I stay here, and then he'll go out and do the work in the orchard, which he's been doing for a long time, so he's plenty capable of doing it by himself. But when I can, I go out and we do it together and just get it done twice as fast. So we kind of have our roles, but then we team up to milling and other stuff.
And harvesting the logs.
Yeah, and we personally don't climb the trees and top them. We have a
Yeah.
couple of tree toppers that we do that do a great job and that we use for that.
Gotcha.
So once they do that, and then we'll go and fall them and, or dig them up. We have a backhoe guy that digs the orchard out. So
Got you. And he's
so
the
we
one
source,
creating all those crazy root trees, right? Like he's that
yeah,
version. Okay.
yeah, he's digging them up. Yeah. So we hire out, subcontractors for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Cool. How did you so you started in 2012, so you missed the 2008 recession. Now that's when you said your dad, the borough market kind of dried up. How did you deal with the recession? Well, the pandemic. How was business for you?
In the pandemic,
Yeah.
it was great
Yeah.
for us. Yeah, it was super busy. That's when we were making a bunch of stuff for people. I guess they're at home and they see a need and a want, so they contact us and we're able to fulfill that for them. So I mean,
So
business was booming.
You didn't have to mill that year.
No, well, we didn't. We should have but we didn't. We just couldn't. We didn't have time. It was just so many orders for making. Yeah, we literally only milled July to part of September. That's it, which is crazy.
That is pretty nuts. That's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal for our inventory, but it's just what we did. So,
and so you've been a pretty like open advocate of like urban lumber for like a while, like along with you and Far West, right? Like really kind of preaching that, like how I feel like most of my listeners in the community, they know what urban lumber is, but like for you as a competitive advantage, why do you tout that so much?
Well, for me, one thing when I sat down with the person that built our website, one of the main things that I wanted to focus on was my dad and I, we have the relationship with the farmers and we know the story of the tree. Like one orchard comes to mind. The dad, he's since has passed, but he came home from the Korean War and he bought a ranch and he's like, hey, I'm going to plant I'm going to plant a walnut orchard. So hearing him, talking with him and just understanding the history behind it, the story, his passion and all that stuff, and being able to share that with people that purchased the wood from us that came from that orchard, and then I could share that with share that story with them. I just feel like that's just so cool because they could tell the story to anyone that comes in and says, hey, I love your table. Well, here's the story about it. Like I'm huge on knowing the story, knowing the history, knowing the reason why the trees had to come out. Because there's so many trees out here that need to come out because they're dead, dying, they're hazardous, lack of production in the orchards and all that stuff. And there's no real reason not to utilize that and not to share those stories as much as possible. So that's why I'm just a huge proponent of the urban wood. And in my opinion, I don't think there's any prettier wood than, our California walnut, the English, Sebastian, and Claro. I don't think there's anything prettier than that.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's an underutilized wood as well,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of figure and a lot of character, especially.
Oh yeah. It's beautiful, but mainly I love the story of, of the tree, the history of the tree and passing that along. I love that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we owe it. I feel like we owe it to, I mean, it kind of sounds weird, but I feel like we owe it to the tree and to the person that planted to, pass it along. I don't take for granted any tree that we get, whether it's big or small, but I just feel like we kind of owe it, just to spread it.
Yeah, I mean, being raised among the trees, you you're very much, you have like a very unique perspective on trees, especially with your dad being it for so long and you being around it for so long. Like you say you're 35, like 27 years around trees.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. How do most people find you? Like what are your marketing channels?
so far the main way is they'll call and say, they call and then I say, hey, how'd you find us? Oh, I just searched such and such on the internet and you popped up. Or that's been the real main
For
way people
sure.
find us. Yeah. And then, social media, Instagram and stuff. But throughout the years, the main way is just,
Search engine. Yeah,
yeah, optimization on that.
for sure. And that's something you still invest in till this day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. It's
awesome.
cool to see when we started, because I have it written down somewhere where, where we ranked on certain stuff on, Google and pages, and just see it kind of slowly build and build and build.
What has been a highlight of running this business for so long?
Um, I guess besides, working with my dad and just the relationship, dynamic, and we have a great relationship and just working together every day. I guess that's the big highlight. But just meeting so many cool people. I
Yeah.
meet people all over the country, in the world as well, but mainly just in the United States, just how many people, and just hearing their story and just talking shop, talking, wood and all that stuff. It's really cool. You never know. It's kind of like, Forrest Gump's thing, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. It's like every day it's a different thing. It's a different person coming in or talking on the phone and all that. And just, I feel like I know I have a lot of friends from this industry all over the country, which is, I think that's a big plus.
When it comes to your I found that like a lot of successful woodpreneur businesses, they tend to focus on, one to three things the most, right? Um,
Hmm.
do you ever get like shiny object and want to take on more, or like where are you at in terms of like when it, because it looks like it's, furniture, selling logs, selling lumber, which is three, right? And so
Yeah.
is and then it looks like even from there, from like the lumber that you do sell, you do have different specialties, whether it's, turning blanks or
Hmm.
gun stock or music type of thing, which is still within your wheelhouse, right? It's not like,
Yeah.
do you ever get like shiny object and want to, I don't know, start making charcuterie boards? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's the hard part. I saw your post. I think it was last week, and you said focus on, one to three things that you were talking about on the thing. I'm like, that kind of hit home, because like I want to do everything. And then one day, I have a thought, yeah, like we could do this whole product line of this, or we could do a whole product line of this where it's custom, yeah, custom charcuterie boards or custom desks or custom this and
yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff. But then I have to take it back to, what we started it for and what it is. And the main thing is, providing wood for furniture people and, makers and builders and all that. That's our number one thing. So that takes the number one priority. And then when we can make furniture and other things, that's what we focus on. But especially this year, we're really trying to focus on getting our logs milled and building our inventory. Because once we don't have a huge pile of logs, it's kind of it's a weight around your neck, because you know
yeah.
you can't really do anything with them. Not every log
You're
is
sitting on a lot of
somewhat.
you're sitting on a lot of inventory and money, right?
Yeah, and it's not a log. I mean, you could sell logs, but not not every one we have, because it's unique and it's how we cut it and all that stuff. And so we're really trying to focus on getting our logs cut, and then once that happens, and then we only have a few logs at a time to cut, then we can focus on doing something, adding another thing to our plate. But
Yeah,
we're really trying to focus on the sawmills, getting
it's
that,
almost
getting the wood
right.
cut. Yeah.
What's your main mill? Is it the WM 1000? You still use the Lucas or no?
No, we sold that to a local guy, and he travels around doing custom milling for people.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And
But
we have the LX 450 also, the wood miser. So for smaller logs.
for smaller, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what kind of kiln do you have?
We have an eye dry and we also have a Nile. We bought the Nile first, the dehumidification one. And then the eye dry came out, and I was a little growing up, you'd hear, stories of people putting wood in their own vacuum kiln, and it would, twist and warp and check and blow up and all that stuff. So I was kind of not really, I was just, it's probably like that thing as well. And then after, I don't know, a year or two, and, talking to the people that have one, and I called Jim and I drive, I think his name's Jim, one of the owners. Yeah. I talked to him, I don't know, 4 different times, just throwing out all these different questions and everything, about this and that and this. And, I finally felt comfortable, and I was like, hey, maybe that would be a good, and I wish we would have bought it sooner.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah. It's funny. His father, a lot of people don't know this. His father brought over the patent for the vacuum kiln to the United States.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like,
I did not know that.
Like you, he grew up around kiln drying, like, working with his father. And then he ended up taking it over and then kind of completely scrapped everything and then rebuilt it, re-engineered. Because, I mean, like a long time ago, vacuum kilns, radio frequency, they're super expensive, right? Like,
oh yeah,
$300,000 for like a 2,000 board foot kiln, right? And so like, he re-engineered it, which, is now creating a lot of opportunities for folks to like, now drying is its own industry right now. So, that's cool. So this is the part of the podcast where I help you with anything marketing or business related that you need help with. So tell me, what do you have any things that have like recently come up, or things that are keeping you up at night that I can help you with?
Well, I guess it comes down to like, because you're pretty. I would say you're pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? With your social media, you're pretty fluent in being able to do that, all that stuff, and keeping it.
Yeah.
You're a great content creator. So it's like trying to focus on that has been a challenge on like what to post, and and then it's like, I guess everyone uses, social media. So, to help their business or help grow or help anything like that. And it's just being consistent with it. And it's like what to post. And then it seems like, oh, you do something really good and you gain followers, and then you don't post for a day or two. And then it's, oh, I lost 10 followers, So it's like it's like what to do and when to do it. And it's just like all that stuff. Cause I have all these good ideas and good photos and good videos on my phone, but then it's like, and I don't want to be like where I'm just sporadic in what I'm, this, and I'm going to post about this and this, I kind of want to have it all like kind of, I don't know if that's the right idea or not.
Yeah. So it sounds like the question for you is like, you like to be more consistent with social media, and you'd like to know basically what to post and when.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things. One is I kind of call it people, product, and process, right? And so those are kind of like your 3 main pillars. So people, you, right? Your dad, your subcontractors, like anybody that's part, like it's about showing them, right? Telling stories about them. That's people, right? Process, like showing pictures of you milling, felling trees, and then again using the caption to tell the stories from there, right? And really, Instagram used to be about photos. It's more about video right now, right? It's like, it's a video platform, and you have to always look at it like, the more you can get people to look at video, the longer Instagram rewards your page with the algorithm so that you can get more views, right? So that's more. So there's people, which you understand, like,
Yeah.
reintroducing yourself, showing your tools, like those sorts of things, right? Process, like showing, like what are you working on today?
This morning I was surfacing a couple big slabs.
So put the camera, you can get like a little, like a phone tripod thing, and just do
I got one right there.
yep, you got, yeah, a time lapse of you surfacing. And then in the caption, you're like, you can use reels and you say, surfacing this for a client, this is what they're planning to do with it, right? They're planning to make a table, a countertop, what have you, right? And then you can say, we love working with clients that know exactly what they do, but if not, we can give you some ideas, right? Like, and then you're always kind of putting things into action. And then the last is the product, right? So this is, showing, like, walking through your yard of the 1,000 logs and just saying, oh my God, we got so much work to do, right? Like, please buy these logs off of us. And then you can put a call to action, or you could say, or mill, or you know what I mean? Like that's kind of, I mean, and you can also have fun with it too, right? You can have fun with some of your content and your challenge. So, I'm sorry, let me finish up the product part. The product part is also showing, like, again, just don't take a picture of the table, take a video of the table and you walking around it with the finish on top. Like that's,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like the picture that you posted. Oh, and make sure too. So like Instagram is all about vertical, right? So don't post any photo. I mean, you could take two pictures at once, one horizontal, one photo, one vertical, one horizontal, like right next to, and then take video, one horizontal, one vertical of the same exact thing, right? Because what it does is that, like, you'll have that black bar on top. Wait, if you notice on your reels and in your photo. And so, I don't know if this, but aesthetically it looks better, right? That you're taking up the full screen, right?
Okay.
So like that picture of we milled large Monterey Cypress cookies today. These slabs are so cool, right? Like I would have taken a video of it and had the reaction, or find a trending song on reels, like, whoo, look at these Monterey Cypress cookies, right? Like, because listen, did you spray water on that photo before you took it? You should have taken a video of you spraying the cookie down, right? Because then, like, for it just kind of triggers like this little feeling, and it's so weird. Like the Instagram algorithm is so weird. Like I just reposted a video of somebody posting a what do you call it? Putting finish on a table, 45,000 views. You know what I mean? Like I have another client, Matt Rubin. I was like, reels, only post reels. And he was like, I just did what you said, and I got 15,000 followers in a month.
Wow.
So
you know what's funny? Real quick, based on like what you're saying, it makes sense, because when I sprayed water on it, I had the reaction, like, of what, and I'm like, holy cow, look how incredible that it, and it wasn't scripted. It was the real thing.
Exactly. But that's how you kind of need to think. Oh, and so people, product, process, right? Those are the three things. Those make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the next thing is like, okay, going into the day, because you know what you're going to do during the day. Like you literally know what you're going to do. So start in your head planning, like, oh, okay, this is an opportunity. So like, I gotta turn on the planer or the surfacer. I gotta, fire up the turn on the mill. Okay, then I'm going to set up my tripod. and I'm going to put it on time lapse. So like add it to your day and think about like, oh, that would be cool. Like that would be cool. Right. And sometimes, you just need to like, just grab it. And again, don't turn it horizontal. Just use the phone as is vertical.
Oh, okay.
And so that should help. But again, people, product, process. Think about throughout the day, like, if a customer comes by, take a selfie with them or take a video with them and be like, hey, what'd you come and pick up today? Like, why'd you buy from us? And then you can tag them and then they can reshare it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's almost like you kind of like with me and you right now, like I'm interviewing you because I want to be able to add value to my listeners, right? For you, you need to add value to your followers. And I'll give you a little bonus one right now. I think you may be able to turn your 1,000 log problem into a business opportunity. You can set up milling days where you can have a party and it'll be like from 10 to 4 and people can come by and pick a log and you can mill it and they can get in a queue, right? In a line, and you will mill it and you will stack it, sticker it, and put it in the back of their truck and they can air dry it, or they put it into your to dry pile and you can dry it for them and pick it up in, however many weeks, but like make a party out of it. Like
I saw someone did that.
We're selling 50 logs today, 20 logs today. You can get the whole burl, right? For this amount of money. And I mean, listen, you could be like, you just sell the log and sell the burl for like a flat fee and make like 10 grand 15 grand on a Saturday. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, turn those challenges into business opportunities and get your followers into be part of that community. Like, hey, we got the 1,000 log challenge. We want to mill these logs by the end of the summer. And to do this every Saturday for the next 8 weeks, we're going to see if we could do it. And for every log that we sell or mill, we're going to donate, $10 to a local charity.
That's a good idea.
Right? All right. Cool. So, any last bit of parting advice for the Woodpreneur community?
Just for those that have sawmills or want to get started, there's more than enough logs out there to go get from, people or tree services. They're having to pay to go take wood there's a local place here. They're having to pay to go dump wood because they can't find anybody to come get it. So I'm sure that happens all over the United States. So, you're looking to start a sawmill business and like, how do I get logs? Call your local tree service company, start there and say, hey, this is what I do. I'd love to be able to, take the logs off your hand, and it helps them out huge, in a huge way, saves them money and it saves them time. And then you get the logs just for, taking them, and then you can mill them into slabs, lumber, and sell them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for your time.
Thanks, Steve. It was awesome.
Really Thanks so much for listening to the Woodpreneur podcast, the #1 podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood, flooring, and sawmill industry. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating and review. You can also tap into our community by visiting woodpreneurlife.com. Once again, that's woodpreneurlife.com.